Hi friends, I'm LJ Jarvis, and welcome back to Lewis Jarvis Show. Yes, I know it seems a little bit redundant for me to review a model that has been revealed a few months ago, yet considering that only now it seems like the Drukhari Codex and their box set, Pity and Pain, is set on arrival soon, after what seems to be so many delays, I figured, well, maybe it's a good time for me to finally give my views and opinions on Lelith's new model. Especially in video form, because, well, there are things I want to say about her that I think would be better to be put in video form rather than just like a series of tweets. But before I do give my views and opinions on Lelith's model, I want to paint a picture for you guys. When it comes to Games Workshop updating their models for big named characters, I notice a pattern where they make these new models big in a way. But what do I mean by that? Well, I believe I've noticed that they do a lot more than just updating the fine cast model into plastic. They go an extra mile, and they, again, make these characters bigger in their model forms. For example, here we see Zurus from his old and new model. Here's Shadowsun with her old and new, Gaskull, and here's Abaddon. From what we can see here, like what I've said before, they do something more than making a fine cast model into plastic. They make these characters bigger and put more like a wow factor to them. Which makes sense, of course, because most likely it will be these characters to lead someone's army on the tabletop. So it makes sense for Games Workshop to do something more grand with these characters, to give them their own image compared to any other unit within their faction. So with this in mind, how do they do for Lelith? What have they done to make her bigger compared to her fine cast counterpart? Well, as we can see here, it looks like they, like with Jane Zar, they made her hair look bigger. And from what else we can see, she's leaping off a Eldari ruin, which is pretty neat as well. And you could say that they made her pauldron bigger. And yes, I'm going to talk about the elephants in the room. They gave her pants. Though, with all seriousness, you could say that even though they took out one of the more risque elements of Lelith's old model, you could say that the new direction, or one of the new ways they can make the model risque without getting into too much trouble, is of how low cut these pants are. So again, if Games Workshop wanted to do something risque with the character, but without getting into too much trouble, then sure, yeah, this is an okay way. And people will say that, well, her old model was so impractical for her just wearing what is basically a swimsuit. It's like, guys, when it comes to 40k, nothing is practical. Because if Games Workshop wanted to make any of their characters wear practical armor, then, well, they should probably give Sigvald more protection in his rear side. But moving on and onwards, what do I think of the model? Well, here's the thing. I'm not necessarily a Drukari fan. Like, my knowledge on their lore and their background is basic at best. At the end, though, I think she's a neat-looking model. Like, I mean, I'm always appreciative of Games Workshop giving spotlight to a faction that aren't Space Marines. Because after all, it's called Warhammer 40k and not Space Marine 40k. But that's my opinion from someone who's outside of the Drukari fan base. But what do the Drukari fans believe? How do they see the model? Because interestingly enough, when the model was revealed, I did this poll asking people which model do you prefer, the new one or the old one. And I was a bit surprised of how close the results seemed to be from people who decided to vote on this. And I did hear a good amount of criticism from Drukari fans on how they see the model. And one of the more interesting critiques from the Drukari fans on the model is probably from Jet Black Raider, probably the biggest Drukari fan that I know of so far. This is basically what she thinks on the model. Other than the hair, she kind of does look like a regular witch, and the lore does describe her as being beautiful plenty of times. And one of the things that she did say that they could have done is give her a more balletic pose, you could say. Give her more of a ballet sort of form and display. And giving her something like whipcard muscles rather than being bulk like a bodybuilder. Now, these aren't my point of views. This is from Jet Black Raider herself, who has definitely read a whole lot more Drukhari books than I ever have. So, seeing the perspectives and critiques from someone who is a big Drukari fan, I can definitely see what her problems are with the model. If the model isn't representing the character well, then yeah, that would be a problem. That's something to take in mind. Now, I want to make this clear, the model isn't a crime against humanity, and no one is saying that. But the problem is that it just looks okay. And that's a problem. It's just an okay model. As in, the model doesn't excite me enough or has wowed me enough to really want to start a proper Drukhari army. That's something that Drazar has done better than Lelith. It's probably safe to say that both non-Drukari and Drukari fans would appreciate the model, because, it is spotlight on a faction that doesn't get spotlight that often for 40k. Yet the issue to understand is that, well, it's just an okay model. Like, after waiting years for wanting something new with the character, to get something that's okay or something that's decent, you would wish for something more. Now again, I think the model looks cool, and I think it's something that Drukari fans have appreciated of getting. It's just that, at the end of the day, I think Games Workshop has missed an opportunity to do something really cool with the character. But at the end of the day, that is my opinion. I would, however, definitely be interested in hearing your opinions in the comments down below this video. What do you think of Lelith's model? Do you prefer the old, or do you prefer the new? And what kind of direction do you think they should take the character for both the tabletop and in the lore? I would definitely like to hear your views and opinions in the comments down below. But with all said and done, thank you all for watching, and I'll see you all again next week with a brand new video. Have a good day, guys. And if you enjoyed this video and you would like to subscribe, then make sure to activate the bell notification button so you'll never miss an episode. And if you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up, consider subscribing, and I'll see you again soon. Have a good one.